Hello, this is Kathy with Kincaid Special Creations, continuing our fall series with pumpkin signs. We'd like for you to join us with DIY number 1, double-sided sign. This is a sign that I purchased at Dollar General, I think on one of their clearance things. I'm going to try to convert it into a pumpkin sign on one side and a Halloween sign on the other. Trying to get that thing out. Eventually I do manage to get it off, and now I'm going to begin painting it with I'm going to take off the rest of that glue, and then I'm going to paint it with pumpkin. I thought one coat would do it, but you'll see that I'm going to put this first coat on, dry it with the heat gun, and then put a second coat on, because it dried a lot darker than what I wanted. I wanted a lighter color, and I know it was orange to start with, but it was just too dark for what I wanted. So I'm sitting here drying it. Heat gun is the best way to do that, because then you can continue to work on your project as you go along. And now I'm going to put a second coat on, and that makes it a lot lighter. I'm liking this color, Pumpkin by Waverly. I really like that color. Most of my fall stuff has been done in that color. So I'm going to dry it again and set it off to the side just a little bit, and then we're going to turn it over and paint the back side of it in black. There we go. The black color is Ink, I-N-K, Ink by Waverly. It is a really good black paint. It will cover in one coat, so that it's you don't have to keep working at it to make it get all that stuff colored over. I'm going to paint down the back side of it, and I'm going to paint on all of the corners, trying to be as careful as I can so that I don't get it over top the orange that I just painted on there, so that it will stay looking pretty. It was a little bit more time consuming than I was thinking. It looks like I'm going fast here, but of course I've got my time speeded up so that I can continue to get this voiceover and get it done quick and get it out. I've got several videos to go up. Just continuing around the outside of it, and then going to take a smaller brush and do some little intricate work around the stem, because that one brush was just too big to be able to do that. What I've got in mind is a really cute little project. I'm going to make the front just a fall part of it, and then the back I'll be able to turn it around and set it out at Thanksgiving, or keep saying Thanksgiving, at Halloween. So now that it's dry, I've got to there it is, hiding away. I'm going to paint this letter K also in the Ink by Waverly. That way the front and back and sides will match. I'm just going to put it on. I was painting the sides first because it's a whole lot easier to hold on to that big part while you're painting those little parts, versus having the big part all painted and then try to hold on to something, paint the little sides. So now you can just lay it down. You won't have to paint the back because, of course, it's going to be hot glued onto the sign. But I've seen a lot of pumpkins around with letters on them, so I just thought, well, I'll do this with mine. I found it at a yard sale, a whole bunch of bigger letters like that, so I thought this is perfect place to use it. And while I'm blow drying it, I'm going to set it off to the side to let it finish drying, and then I'm going to turn the pumpkin around onto the Halloween sign and use my weeding tool, when I find it here, to weed out my cricket design that I made for this side. It's called Trick or Treat. And you just take your weeding tool and pick it up gently as you can so it'll come across. I thought that might be a good stencil because it come off so good. And then I'm going to go get me some contact paper, which that's what I use for my transfer paper. It works pretty good, but I forgot I forgot this time to go ahead and fuzz it on my pants before I put it on there, but it didn't tear the paint up. I was really surprised. It did really good. Just kind of center it in the center of your sign and press down on the letters so that they'll stay in place. This is Dollar Tree vinyl, so it's not the best for this kind of stuff, but when I get done, I'm going to put a layer of Mod Podge over it. So I'm just working really easy and gently, trying to get the letters to stay down where they need to stay. Sometimes I have to grab a hold of them with that weeding tool or my fingernail and hold down on them. That way it will release from the transfer tape. It makes it kind of difficult at times, but eventually, if you work with it and you're patient, which I don't know that anybody that knows me would say that's what I am, but I am, believe it or not, taking my time with this being speeded up. It looks like I'm going relatively fast, but no, I'm taking my time to get those letters off that transfer tape into the right space. You could pull it off and then peel the stickers off, but then you would have them in maybe the right spot, maybe not the right spot. And of course the R and or come up, and the K is trying to come up. So that's why you'll see me in a little bit cover the whole thing with a coat of Mod Podge. There I tore part of my T off and had to put it back on, but it's doable. That little pick helps get it in the right spot. So now comes the Mod Podge, and we're going to cover the whole front and the top part of this in that Mod Podge so the paint won't peel off. I'm trying to find me a good Mod Podge paintbrush to get the Mod Podge on there. Some lady said it would be good to use makeup sponges. For whatever reason, I cannot find them. Can't find them at Walmart. Well, I did find some, but they weren't what I was looking for, and they were $6 a bag. They say that you can pick them up at Dollar Tree store, but I haven't been able to find them. So that I'm just smoothing that where that Mod Podge got across the top of it. And we'll go set it aside and let it dry. And now it's all dry on the back side, so I brought it back, and I'm going to put my K on there. And then I'm going to put a put the raffia bow that was originally on it back on it on this side, just because I like that, and it's a whole lot better raffia bow than I could have fixed. On this side, I'm going to take twine and just wrap it around my fingers. I don't know, 5 or 6 times, cut it off, and then cut me another little string, and then tie it through the middle of it into a knot. And that way you will be able to cut off the extra little strings that's attached to your knot, or leave them for extra tails if you want. And it just makes a cute little bow, one that I can even do and looks halfway decent. So that's what I like to do the best if I can, is put a little twine bow on it. And there it is, perfect little shelf setter for right now, and in a month or so we will be turning around to have the trick-or-treat side showing up. So, oh, there's Jinxie. He wanted to say hello too. Thanks for watching. DIY number 2 is a pizza pan sign. I took an old pizza pan that I was no longer using because it had done, I guess, set in the water too much and rusted up on me pretty good. So I'm just taking it and sanding off all the rust, getting me a little edge on it, hoping that, you know, I can rough it up enough that the paint will stick real good. And I do sand it pretty good. I keep going and going and going, and then I wipe it down with a rag, get all the sanding dust off of it. But if you don't take the little time to do the prep work, you end up with it not being 100%. I thought the paint was coming out of that a whole lot better. I guess I'm down to the bottom of that thing of pumpkin Waverly, but I've got another brand new little one, and then I bought me a big one so that it go. If you hear something in the background, that's my notifications going off on my laptop. Please ignore that. I forgot to turn them off before I turned the sound down before I got in here. They must be hitting up the airwaves with news on Sunday. They should be taking them a break. So now I'm going to work on getting this vinyl released. The first one is Fall is in the Air. It's going to go on the fall side of my little pizza pan wreath for my door. It looks real cute. I've got it hanging up over there right now, so it done its job. This is where I'm weeding it out of the insides of the letters, the part that it doesn't need to be there. And if you think you can't see it, if you see me, I'm trying to get right down on top of it so I can see them. That white on white on white is really makes it hard to see. There I'm fuzzing that transfer tape a little bit so it'll be easier to get the stuff off of it. Scrub it down and then just keep doing until it releases all that stuff onto your transfer paper. Sometimes you have to use that little weeding tool to make sure that it all comes off like it should. And I'm putting it at just a little angle because I'm going to put a couple of leaves on it. I could have put it, I guess, in the dead center, but I just liked it on a little bit of an angle right there. And there you go. Now I'm looking, I'll get down in there looking because I've missed. If you look real close, and you have to look real close, you'll see I don't have the dot on my I in the word air, but I don't worry about it. I know it says air. And if you look at it, you'll know it says air too. And now you won't be able to unsee the fact that it don't have the dot on it. Because that's the way I was. I had to hunt around and say, what are you looking for? But that's what it was. And these little leaves, I don't even need to transfer tape. They're all one piece, so you can just pull them up like a sticker and just put them wherever you want them to go. And there's the one side done. And now I'm going to work on the other side. I'm just going to cut down the paper so I can save that little bit for another project. And this one just says, Happy Halloween. And you'll see on this side a whole lot better what I was talking about with the weeding. Is because it's black on white. So that's part of the weeding of that L. So now I got to get the L to release and lay it back down. And take all those little things out. I just stick them together on my finger. That way when I get rid of them, I can get rid of all of them at the same time. Works out pretty good. You got to be really careful because once you put it down on your paper, on your project, you don't want to have to dig down in there and get it. You might tear your paint up. Here goes that rusty, trusty piece of transfer tape. And I'm going to pull up the Happy Halloween. You just have to keep rubbing to get them to release real good. Sometimes you have to grab a hold of them with that pick. Get them to line up on the paper where you want them to. You don't want to just pull it off because then it'll not be in the right place where you want it to be. And it's hard to get it to line back up once you've done that. So I'm taking my time, just making sure everything's staying down in place like it should. And there we go. Happy Halloween. I'm going to take the piece of paper, the backing paper, and rub over top of it, make sure it's all down there good and solid. Now I'm cutting apart the spider web that I want to go in there. And it also has a lot of weeding, white on white, that needs to be done. But I'll take care of all that. Then I'm going to cut that spider web in half. And put it on two different areas in that, on that pizza pan. One beside the spider and one at the bottom, so it'll fill that empty spaces up on that pizza pan. Almost done with the weeding. Almost got it accomplished. But you see me just sticking them one on top of the other. It makes it easy. One, it makes it easier to do. And then when you get ready to get rid of it, you can pull the whole thing off your finger and throw it in the trash. There we go. Now we've got it all together, and I'm cutting it down a real thin line. But it did work. And here's my trusty transfer tape back. And I'm going to turn it over, and you'll see me setting it right beside that spider, so he can just jump from where he's standing right onto that web. Had to trim it down a bit so it wouldn't hang off the end of that pizza pan, but you'll see me bring that back in just a second and fill in that spot so that you got that line for the bottom of it all the way around, so he don't fall off his spider web. Now we're going to put the other side on. It's using the same transfer tape. You can use one piece of transfer paper, I don't know, 8 to 10 times before it gets so bad that you can't use it. That's what I like. I like being able to have stuff I can use over and over again. I'm a collector, but I'm not wasteful. Or at least I try not to be. And now we'll put a coat of Mod Podge on the front and the back. I don't know why I got this little teeny tiny brush to put that Mod Podge on, but I guess it was the one that was closest to me. So it does the job. It spreads that Mod Podge out. You don't see me do on the back, the fall side, but I do put the Mod Podge on both sides so that keep the letters down good and solid. And I try to remember to go make sure when I'm doing it to get all the spots, don't leave any dry spots, because that'll dry and it'll look like you don't have that part covered. I always like to do it down into a straight line so that my brush strokes are all the same. Right there I got a piece of one of the hairs off of one of those paint brushes in there. And then you'll see me here in a second. There's one little piece of that L that's being stubborn. I guess where it come up earlier. And now I'm going to work, I believe I'm going to work on deciding what I'm going to put around it. See, the outside edges look kind of plain. So, right now, I keep forgetting this part every time. That's a crocodile. We are memory keepers, and it's just a big fancy hole punch, but it will punch holes in metal, in thin wood, anything that's like that. Plastics, heavy duty plastic, it will punch holes in it. Not like a little school hole puncher. That thing is really, really good. And I've got both that one and the big one. The Big Bite, I think it's called. For a long range, if you needed to get onto the inside of something, it could do that for you. So, I've just been collecting stuff over the course of my adult life, because crafts has always been, and crafts are they're not cheap, but you can buy them one piece or two pieces at a time when they're on sale, and they will mark that stuff down to 50 to 75% off at any given time. And if you're good about thinking, okay, well, I'm thinking outside the box, I'm going to turn a pizza pan into a fall wreath. There you go. You can do that. Take an old pizza pan, a little bit of paint, and a little bit of lettering, and you don't have to have a Cricut to do that. Here I am making a bow. I'm just taking what size bow I want. I pinch the middle, then glue it down to the middle, and then bring the other side over. And that's all there is to it. Just bring it to the middle and then back to the middle and put it together. Now I'm going to take a small little piece of it and fold it in thirds and put it around that center. When I pinch the center together, you'll see me. I pinch center together, then I can put that around and it just matches the rest of it. It looks really good. You could use a zip tie, you could use jute twine, you could use fishing line, whatever you want to do. I just like to use the same type ribbon because it makes it look like a little bit more of a finished project. Because usually if you do the others, you'll put the ribbon over it anyway, so I just saved that step. This is making a tail for it, and just put it together like that. hold it down, glue it on, and then I will take and dovetail the ends. I'm using Velcro to put it on there with, so that I can take that bow off and change it out, or put it up whenever it's time to do the Halloween side. It just seems like it's easier that way. Your bow will stay on there. I don't know that I would leave it out there in a real heavy-duty windstorm. That might be a little bit difficult. And that's where I dovetail my ends of my ribbon. Make it short so you can read all the words. Now I'm going to take that off and set it aside. And then I'm going to turn over and put the jute rope on the other side. One side I put sisal rope on, and the other side I put jute rope on. It just finishes out the little ends of that pizza pan. I liked it. Sometimes you just have to put a little finish on it. Takes out the edge of those spider webs. And I just like the looks of it. I hope you leave me a comment as to whether you like it. And on the top, I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the other side and make a bow, but this time I'm going to use out of my Dollar Tree haul. If you haven't seen that video, please watch it. This little black and white ribbon with bats on it. I thought that'd be cool for the Halloween side. So just glue it down in the center, bring it out of the part, glue it down in the center, do both pieces the same way. Then you put the two glued sides, the two insides together. That way you have the nice sides on the outside. You don't have that center piece. Just fold that into thirds. Put a little glue on it to hold it in place. And then just stick them together, squish them in the center, and then put that extra piece on the outside. That's a simple way to get a bow done. And you know me, I am not a really good bow maker, but I will put out what bows I do know or what bows I want to try into a video. I'm not sure when, but I'll try to get that when I'm not busy with everything else. Make sure when you're doing your tails, if it's not a two-sided ribbon, just pitch it over so both the good sides are showing up. I'm going to do the same thing with this. Just put a little piece of Velcro on the back of it so that it can be up there when it's time to have the Halloween side showing. So there we go. We have this side for Halloween, and I'm going to show you the fall side here in just a second. There we go, and there's the ribbon for the fall side. And that is the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for photos. They're coming.